Okay, let's see if I can be heard. Welcome, everybody. This is the 144K mass meditation beginning at the beginning of a whole new civilization as far as the cosmos is concerned. And it's a crucial, fundamental moment where a critical intervention will make such a big difference. And well done to you for, once again, raising your hand, stepping forward and taking action, especially if you're in the US, where it's very early. And I know that many people that have to hold a full-time 9-to-5 job, it's kind of heartbreaking that they can't attend, courtesy of the prison of the Matrix. But that's what we're all about. For those of us who can take action and are here right now, we hear about busting open the prison, which of course is happening. We all know that. But there's an accelerator, an ease and lightness and quickness that is really needed. So well done. And I've got the thumbs up that we're starting, that we're heard, and the audio and usual infrastructure is working just fine. So this is such a huge date, the 20th. For those of you who subscribe to Cobra, you know that he mentioned or reiterated recently in Phoenix that things will start to get better after the 20th. But certainly many of you will have experienced horrid energies last night. Well, from the afternoon onward, US times. So they were firing away again. And for those of you who had such an experience, we'll be briefly showing that experience. It's very important for the teams to scan that, to trace it to its origin. It simply has to happen. Although it won't be the usual intensive clearing kind of mass meditation. It'll be a shorter one. But we're still going to have that curious intrigue and sense of exploration to find what's really denying us our freedom. To expedite. We're all about expediting. That's that. There's always a reason why first contact hasn't happened, and life transformation for the awake and aware, let alone active starseeds, hasn't happened. There's always a good reason for it. And we're going to discover that reason. There's transformation into more blissful, inspired energies and daily experience. For active starseeds, the awake and aware, it doesn't have to be dependent on the event. Really important to realize that. So begin the process of breathing in deeply and slowly through your nose. In other words, begin meditating, entering that relaxed brainwave state of alpha brainwave or upper theta. we move in closer and closer to the right divine moment for action. And let's do that together while we harmonize our energies. Anyone who was going to log on will have logged on by now. So let's harmonize and calm the energies. Got it. There we go. Alrighty. Alrighty. All right. Let's multiply the power and impact of this mass meditation by a good 100 times. And I'm going to go through this quickly because most of you are veterans. You know the usual protocols. Move in to the right hemisphere of your brain, utilizing one of the highest forms of consciousness. This matrix calls imagination as a way of hiding our power. You've heard the term, the swamp runs deep. Well, the tricks and the lies of this matrix also runs deep. In other words, there's no such thing as imagination. And a good quote that I only came across yesterday was, consciousness and matter are two aspects of the same substance. Consciousness and matter are two aspects of the same consciousness, especially, and that's multiplied by order of magnitude when this unique phenomena known as physicality, you project your consciousness from physicality to non-physicality, that's multiplied even more. And we're going to harness that power for anyone who's new. So let's construct and actualize by quote unquote imagining a gigantic crystal ball, a very translucent silver, but translucent as in it's a dark tone to it, crystal ball. See all the golden light bodies of all your fellow 144K comrades dotted evenly near the equator on the inside of this crystal ball. Let's quickly call in Gaia, the sacred goddess. Authentic Gaia, we call upon the one true authentic goddess Gaia. Please be here with us. See Gaia in the center of the crystal ball. Adore and admire her beautiful white polar ice caps and white clouds over the blue oceans. Authentic Gaia, can we please have your permission to take her up with us to beyond the multiverses, to managers of multiverses, for way more power and impact? Okay. Now we start to move up through the layers of the universe, and you may simply see just some vague horizontal white lines going from the top, moving from the top to the bottom of the crystal ball, on the outside, of course, until all you see is that soft, light, therapeutic flickering of light as we move through any and all fake AI overlays, AI constructs, membranes, not just dimensions and densities, all real or organic, fake or organic, levels and rounds and worlds and so-called dimensions of this universe. We're breaking through it all and racing towards the outer boundary of this universe, and just enjoy. Again, remove all and any sense of limitation through the now. The now being the portal that transcends time and space to access your soul, your authentic soul and higher self through the now. So forget about linear time completely. And remember, for anyone who's new, faint images work just as well. Abstract faint images, impressions work just as well. You're here to get the light in. As we rapidly approach that last thick outer boundary of this universe, again, if you're new, you'd be well advised to completely stretch and widen and go beyond your current reference points and boundaries, mental boundaries, or consciousness level. Be very open in terms of consciousness. It's going to get stretched here, which is what your higher self wants. It always wants that, pretty much. Take that last glance at Gaia. And that soft flickering light in the background. And then all of a sudden, everything goes bright white. It's so bright you have to squint your eyes as we reach and move through that last thick outer boundary of this universe. It's quite a membrane, as you can imagine. And we are through. And you see a big ball of light that is the universe that we've just left beneath us. Rapidly turn into a small ball of light, and we rise above. A whole ocean of small balls of light. And we rise above. And that whole ocean of small balls of light that is the multiverse, or a small portion of it, that also sort of gets coalesced into another big ball of light that is the multiverse, and we rise above a whole ocean of multiverses. And we rise above that. That shrinks down into nothingness. And just maintain that relaxed, non-trying, internal view of Gaia, the continents, blue oceans, and white clouds, and white polar ice caps, and the dotted golden ring towards the equator of the crystal ball, that is all the other 144K members. As we continue to rise, and I quickly run through standard protocols. Authentic height, we call upon the one true authentic light being the height. Please make sure that you will know when that's true height. And you look up, and all of a sudden, through the roof of the crystal ball, you start to see a point of white light getting bigger and bigger, and brighter and brighter. And we finally reach it as the whole roof of the crystal ball is lit up. And we come to a sudden, yet somehow gentle stop, and we slowly, lovingly move through this platform of light that begins to envelop the crystal ball and all of us inside it. And we rise above. Closes at the bottom. Opens up at the top. And it all sort of shrinks, if you will, at the bottom. And we now form a straight line of unity behind and a little above Gaia. Alrighty, and now the crystal ball, to allow for a gentle decompression. The crystal ball begins to peel evenly from the top center. Nice and slowly. All the way down. Again, it's important to allow for a gentle decompression, especially for new people, new members. And now for the profound and very real power, but also bliss of loving stillness and centeredness. Establish your own connection with these managers of multiverses, authorized directly from Source to intervene in this universe, which is a nexus universe. Establish your own connection with them simply by feeling their unique energy signature. And take the opportunity to go deeper into the now and step outside of linear time even more. This is fundamental power for accessing your higher self, dormant abilities, for bigger impact, more dramatic change, the more you step outside of linear time. And just look at them, feel them. Again, if you're new, you may simply see them as light beings, very, very translucent light beings. There is a central sun in the middle of them, central sun of Source, that is. And have a little bit of background attention or consciousness on usually the center of our heads, thalamus area. Where some of our higher senses are, to be aware of or catch that subtle pulse of their unique energy. The way everyone has a unique energy. So I'm going to be silent for a few minutes. Go deep. It's an opportunity to go deep. That's fundamental to fulfilling your mission. Authentic heart, can you please send us a massive wave of your energy so we can truly feel it to an undeniable, unmistakable, physical level? And let go. Be here. Nice. Authentic heart, can you please send us a massive wave of your energy so we can truly feel it to an undeniable, unmistakable physical level into our hearts? Engage the heart. And now have a bit of background consciousness on your chest or even sternum. Waiting for that little subtle, unique pulse of their energy signature. And it's okay if you don't feel anything, just be here. Because at least half of us have been desensitized to cope with the matrix. Okay. I've just been notified that some people are having trouble with whatever platform you're on, YouTube and Telegram namely, which is unusual. Normally they're quite reliable and robust. So clearly there is an attack on the throat chakra. Free speech, there's an attack on it, on the voice being heard. So I'm just quickly showing that to the teams, because that's very unusual. In one way, it's good. It's a confirmation and a sign that stuff is up, that there's a general global, upheaval and dark attack. So clearly it's trying to prevent something or try to make something happen. So thank God we're active here and now and intervening to prevent a missed timeline or missed opportunity. Okay, nice. Stay stable, stay calm and centered. Sometimes it's just a case of being unflinching. Alrighty. We're going to turn things around. Don't you worry. Now let's quickly bring in the rest of the teams. I call upon the infinite army, the authentic amalgam of the authentic Oberon lineage. I call upon the elders of the amalgam. I call upon the team of beings that created this universe and the unique phenomena known as physicality as a way of, as the ultimate solution to corralling dark back to the light. Okay. Okay. And that team of being presents itself as one man, as a golden being of light, in this model referred to as Oberon. See him as a golden being of light on the other side of Gaia, wherever you see fit. Alrighty. Repeat after me. I call upon all my higher density levels. Feel that to allow, accept to allow, and actualize this connection and channeling. Visually see your higher self, him or her, over on the other side of Gaia, next to Oberon. Okay, repeat after me. I call upon the entirety of my authentic soul and see a star. That's what it looks like, just up above the HUD. Repeat after me. I call upon my authentic oversoul and see another ball of light behind your soul in a different color to differentiate. This is what you're going to be channeling. Very crucial. And repeat after me. I call upon my authentic I am presence and see a bigger ball of light behind and above, or just behind your oversoul. Back to white, perhaps. Connect. It's all about connecting consciousness, or through consciousness, by having focus. All right, now, authentic legion of light, here we are. There is Gaia. Take us to the space and place of omnipresence. Take a brief glance at Gaia and I am at a minimum, and all of a sudden everything goes bright white. It's so bright you have to squint your eyes as we go and taken to omnipresence. You can barely see Gaia in the middle, very bright, and all of a sudden the bright white light disappears. And everything looks the same. Authentic legion of light. It is the grand moment of a fundamental, profound reset of a new beginning, restart, both collectively and individually. Of a new civilization, a birthing, rebirth. It is February the 20th, 2026, just 3 days after the full annular solar eclipse. Saturn, here is Saturn, and there is Neptune, is completely 100% conjunct with each other. In 4 hours from now, as far as linear time is concerned, or more specifically 4.5, there is clearly an effort, a battle, to use 3D terminology, to downgrade, if not invert, the golden timeline opportunity. That stands before us, and we are here to protect and actualize the highest possible timeline upgrade. There is a lot up, a huge kick up, a huge off-gassing occurring that is causing harm. Now, put whole focus on the height of your I am at a minimum. That's enough. And kind of relay the energy, the intent, not just meaning of what I say. As you look at them, at this spectacle, panoramic view before us, really connect, really come from the heart. We're going to turn things around because it's rough. We need to transform that into bliss. Radical, huge upgrading timeline. Let's do it. If you're here, then you have the power. Alrighty. Authentic legend of light, authentic height I am. There is Gaia, placing her in a quarantine sphere. Scan the whole of all levels, frequencies, densities, especially all spectrums of the physical plane, and work through us, through our energy fields, through our connecting consciousness with you, and completely transform the situation, completely transform it all, completely upgrade, radically, profoundly. Full potential, the upgrading timelines, and any and everything, both internal and external, that denies us our freedom, beginning with first physical contact with our galactic families here on the physical plane, beginning with us active starseeds, and allow a more gentle healing and awakening process for the unconscious majority. But for us, active starseeds who are ready, clear everything, denying us first contact, and full reconstitution, energetically, physically, spiritually, mentally. Completely remove all remaining darkness, physical and non-physical, now. Okay, now we're going to spend, to really set the stage, we're going to spend, I don't know, a couple of minutes, 5 at the most, really tuning in by looking at the teams and at the same time briefly showing them especially any negative energies or experiences that you felt yesterday afternoon or night US time, or simply the past 24 hours that you could tell was seriously not right, let alone a blatant attacks. Whether it's just grief, sadness, or depression, if you're on your own, or whether it was just bickering or arguments with anyone in the house, anyone around you, or something clearly not right or clearly negative. Show that to them briefly because, again, they need that access point through your system to get to the root cause of whatever it was that happened in your personal life. To get to the universal global cause of it. So I'm going to give you the space to honor that and be present with them so they can receive that. So you can, what you're trying to communicate with them or show them can work through any noise within your auric field to reach them so that they can receive it. You can be pretty brief. You don't have to relive the whole thing. Again, this is the secret sauce in energy work. Well, of the kind that works, that is. And just say, authentic heart, authentic I am, feel this, see this, if that helps. You don't have to see them perfectly at all as you're showing in this. Remember to breathe deeply in, smoothly through your nose as you show and tell. So critical, this show and tell period. It's fundamental. It's what most so-called spiritualists completely miss. This, of course, as we sit in this silence, is a mass meditation. It's already long begun. Really show just brief moments of emotions, the energies of any of last night's experience or this morning's experience if you were in the Far East. And be fully aware, Goddess is saying that this so-called personal negative experience of the past 24 hours is sharply connected to the dark structures and dark activities of dark ones throughout the planet that's denying us our freedom. For all of humanity. So once again, we're representatives for all of humanity. They think that you're just showing them something personal. It's far greater than that. It's all connected to something very central and global that needs to be removed. While we, just before the exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune, which is about 4 hours from now. Stay disciplined, stay non-trying, and centered as the teams scan, working through us, scanning, getting in there into their light and our light into some insanely dark stuff. Gaia is in the quarantine sphere already. Discipline equals freedom. That's the way that works. and occasionally move around in terms of imagery to the HOD. These managers of multiverses that have such profound power that are simply able to rip through masses of darkness much quicker. And through our consciousness, and your own soul over soul, of course. This is such profound power, and I'm really not kidding. I'm talking from personal experience, loads of it. Remember to breathe deeply through your nose. This is fundamental. And if you're done, just keep on looking at them because they continue to scan. Believe me, a lot is going on. We're just so cut off from our higher senses. Even the sensitive among us, so cut off from our higher senses. And parts of our brain and DNA that, we don't see it all. Believe me, a lot is going on. It's hold, be the conduit by looking at them. Gaia in the foreground, slightly below us. If you're done, hold space. The right moment is drawing near. Be here. Look at them and this panoramic spectacle. There is a ton going on, regardless of whether you see it or feel it or not. Hold your position. The decisive move draws near. Welcome to energy work, and global transformation secrets. Get it all out of you. Show them of what it is that you've had enough of. Because the rest of humanity feels the same way. Now feel a sense of determination from your solar plexus area or heart to completely clear the underlying causes of this, which is darkness structures. Fortune favors the bold. Be bold. because now you can with this platform that we've taken the time to set up. All right. And just repeat after me. Scan the whole of this. Authentic height, authentic I am. And Legion of Light. And go all the way to the deepest root chords to free myself and humanity in the fastest but smoothest way, and actualize my soul potential, purpose, and dreams at this physical level. Expedited. Remove last and final vestiges of darkness and its creations. And clear the light. Rebirth a new world. Now. See Gaia in the white quarantine sphere or indigo quarantine sphere, you're the boss. See Gaia in a holographic color that to you represents omnipresence, to include all levels and frequencies and AI constructs and non-visible spectrum of the physical plane. But at the same time, throughout the omniverse, throughout subspace, or down to subspace, down to subquantum level in regular time space, we really feel your I am just over on the other side. Easily having the ability to do this, because through this guidance, you've stretched your consciousness enough for your I am to be able to work within such a framework that your consciousness has just been stretched to. The framework, the consciousness framework is there. So now your I am can work with you and through your current frame of reference. That's what it needed. It doesn't just happen. This is energetics fundamentals. And in whatever way works for you or comes to you, or imagine it, quote unquote, if you need to, because it's all consciousness, which is just another aspect of the same substance of matter, physical or non-physical, and see the light, feel the light, work through, all the way from your I am and the HOD, through you, all aspects of you, levels of you, and through you, down through here, the physical, by visualizing this from up here above the multiverses. I'm busy. I'll try to get today. Authentic HOD, please clear the 188-degree ley line. Use that as an access point as well. And for those of you that have any long-time intimate and personal connections with your own guides, you can call them in as well to help with the 188-degree ley line if you're not already in the middle of something. Again, go beyond your reference points by being that very mentally open-ended, silent witness on what you're seeing within the quarantine sphere. Because part of the whole trick is to go where you have not gone before in terms of consciousness level or reference points. Wake up all awakening starseeds and sleeping starseeds. Wake them up now. Thank you, God. Wake up all starseeds now. There's a minimum 200 million of them dormant or shut down or given up. activate their codes now. As always, folks, see what you see within the quarantine sphere. Pretend Gaia is mostly empty space. Because we all know that that's the case anyway. And anything dark, as always, it will be represented as dark grey or black. Turn it white, transmute it, turn it white, feel your connection with the soul I, the soul I am. This is fundamental. Turn it white and watch it disappear after a few seconds. That's transmutation. Make it happen. And within the next 10 minutes, as we begin to finish up, we're going to sort of go deep as we clear to get to that bullseye. That thing that seems to replicate. Just have that occasional glance or glimpse of at least two of the hot in your I am at a minimum on the other side of Gaia and the quarantine sphere. Clear, clear, clear. Transmute, transmute, transmute. Every time we do that, up goes the frequencies and up goes the timelines at this fundamental critical moment. Be the silent witness at the same time. It's not contradictory, it is tandem. Go deep, go deep. Ironically, by being more of a silent witness. The intent of the last and final vestiges, if that's the right word, of anything and everything. Denying us freedom, abundance, first contact, life transformation, beginning with us because we're active and aware as the forerunners, to then gently spread throughout the rest of the collective for when they're ready. It starts here. As we draw closer and closer to the beginning of a new civilization, a new era, literally. It's pretty damn far from happenstance that Neptune, the planet of so-called dreams and the multi-dimensions and spirituality, conjunct, 100% conjunct, 0 degrees of Aries with Saturn,
That's all about structures, realism, and bringing things into concrete reality. Yeah, that's so damn far from so-called a random event or accident, along with our intervention at this critical moment. There's an extremely good reason why darkness, physical and non-physical, has been attacking so horrendously this past few weeks, especially the last 3 days. Extremely far from happenstance or random. Go deep. Transmute. Systematically. Discipline equals freedom. Okay. Looks like I was muted on Telegram, and I apologize for that. I was just saying it's extremely far from random and happenstance that Neptune, the planet of the upper dimensions, multi dimensions, and so called dreams, is conjunct with Saturn, the planet of bringing things into concrete reality through structure and realism. And why attacks and darkness interference and the rough energies have been so fierce these past 3 days in particular. It's a massive, that's the irony. Those attacks are also a massive opportunity. We're simply utilizing that to realize and manifest true life transformation. And the final, by exposing these last vestiges of darkness that denies us first contact, life transformation here on the physical surface, but also a maturing of our consciousness. To actualize life transformation and first contact for us awakened aware, and to then, as forerunners, to then spread throughout the collective as they're ready. By showing them our own personal experiences, because it's all universal and similar to the collective's experiences. I'm going to be silent, go deep, be the silent witness. Okay. So be aware. We're going for kind of like the ultimate secret of what's keeping us bound. Okay. Now, we're going to show them what appears to be really the AI constructs. They look like normal, regular humans, totally inconspicuous, but really they're AI constructs, and they're fundamental to denying us first contact. And we're also quantum entangled with that. Kind of like the voodoo doll effect. There's a voodoo doll aspect to all of this. And there is an aspect where the Dark Ones are doing voodoo dolls on us sovereign ones. And we are free and sovereign beings, but they've sort of tricked our consciousness through quantum entanglement to think that we're these voodoo dolls that they control. And so by doing what we're doing, it allows more than just our I am and the hide. It allows our off-world brethren and inner earth brethren, for that matter, it's sort of the same thing really, to get in there as well to shut this down, or this magic-like tech. It's amazing how far the trick and the lie goes, even though we have some intellectual concept of it. And so as you set an intent to see something, something always shows up, because the right hemisphere of your brain, when used in this way, is the ultimate search engine algorithm. Again, this is what you're here for. Turn it white, watch it disappear. And so that place, that space, replaced with source, magenta, or light blue or green in some cases, depending on whatever it is that you see. There's no right or wrong. So ultimately, it's about spreading source through you and your connecting consciousness as an extension of source. Okay, keep at it. Transmute, transmute, transmute. And have a certain kind of detached, not trying, but also from within your heart, a kind of healthy enthusiasm for getting down to the very final, last bottom of it. And an image will instantaneously come up because the answer is always where the question is asked or intent is set. It's often, not always, a faint image. They're usually the accurate ones. Sees it, turn it white. Change background colors if you need to differentiate between your white light, which is the whole point of even being here. Otherwise, it's a waste. Sometimes we just have to face reality. And that's what a lovingly intended Saturn is trying to do and tell us. I'm not just talking. The light forces are so getting in there because of our connecting consciousness and intervention. I think I felt the gator there. Your consciousness, especially through transmutation and getting down to the bottom of things through the right intent, alters the quantum field big time. Most of you know that, especially when working from up here. All right, begin to finish up whatever it is that you're doing per your unique soul purpose and talent. Again, take that occasional glance over on the other side to your soul over soul and I am. Ask it to guide you if you're not in the middle of anything. And have at it. Transmute it. One more time. We're drawing to a close before we do a manifestation process. Authentic I am presence, authentic heart, authentic all that is, authentic source. Show us the last and final vestiges that denies us our freedom, abundance, happiness, and actualized soul potential. Alrighty. Alright, they're really getting home here. Really getting to the bottom of things. Again, you may simply be seeing grey spheres or cubes or like real basic structures like that. It's often the most simplest form as far as visual and or construct is concerned. Transmute it, turn it white, watch it disappear. Transmute your way to freedom, that's just the way it is. Alrighty, she appreciated that. There seems to be a massive, I don't know, it's like a geyser at this point of negative entities, but synthetic humans, AI construct humans. Some of the humans that you see out there, they're literally AI overlay. They're literally made out of AI codes. That's how real the lie is. So major off-gassing, if you will, that's been cleared.
Alrighty. Now let's finish up. There's still a need to bring in source to feel all remaining space. Again, this goes back to the fundamental of space equals time, and time is what has us trapped. So zoom in, or simply see within the quarantine sphere and a holographic Gaia. Now this is the how do I put it? Physical level. All right. All spectrums and levels and frequencies of the physical plane. Now pull in magenta source from the very center, the central sun and portal of the core of Gaia. Just do, don't think. And feel all so-called empty space with source love, source energy, source essence, source presence, slowly throughout, beginning with the core of Gaia, then expand it out bit by bit throughout inner Earth, holding the intent and consciousness directive to feel all empty space throughout, including the subquantum level of the physical plane, but throughout all the visible and non-visible spectrum of the physical plane, all space, so that there's no empty space whatsoever. And this really transformed reality, because we're now more ready than ever, just before the moment of the perfect full Saturn Neptune conjunction at the very beginning of the whole damn zodiac. New civilization, new full fundamental and actual restart, reset. And as you expand that magenta sphere, more and more coming towards the halfway point of between the core of Gaia and the surface of Gaia, all levels of feeling and frequencies of physicality, and especially the visual spectrum that we can't see, down to the quantum and subquantum level, it's all into space. See, for lack of a better term, a thicker substance of source within that, in the core area of that expanding magenta. So it's like a thicker, richer magenta. Full on goddess energy. Feel the profound, soft femininity, which is a fundamentally sacred thing in a way that the masculine isn't. A whole other story I don't have time for, that there's no time for. Expand it out with a profound, richer, infinite femininity within the core of that expanding magenta. I'm hoping I'm able to verbalize things whilst trying to visualize at the same time. Not easy. And now move it out as we're sort of consolidating the inner Earth situation. Just expand it towards the crust and reaching the crust, where there's it'll also help dissolve the core replicating
AI construct machinery that just keeps on replicating things whenever something gets removed. Remove all replicators. Hold the intent to remove all replicators. You can, if you want, per your sole purpose and directive and mission, have a transmutational white or golden outer membrane, and on the outer edge of this expanding magenta sphere, begin to push through the crust of Gaia at all physical spectrums down to the subquantum level that transmutes an outer thin white or golden membrane that transmutes anything that replicates itself, that then constructs fake AI realities and fake AI humans. Like literally, they're physical, you can touch them, they act normal, they're not real, they do exist. Clear them all. Hold that intent and move it gently through the crust of Gaia. You don't have to see the whole thing perfectly. See any abstract representation of the crust if you want. It always seems to be more effective. Receive the image that comes to you. Feel all space, all empty space. Because truth be told, darkness occupies empty space. This will radically, fundamentally, dramatically swing things in our favor. As Saturn and Neptune swing. Almost exact, conjunct with each other. Critical moment. All right, begin to move through. Zoom in if you have to a micro image of part of the surface to represent the macro. Or just blow up the image within the quarantine sphere. We're moving, shifting, transforming the quantum particles in a way that we see fit per our sole purpose. And move it up. And reaching the surface. Obviously, it's a pretty perpendicular sort of surface profile from the depths of the ocean floors and the Mariana Trench all the way to Mount Everest. That's a lot of vertical space. So take your time. Be the witness at the same time. Allow. Feel all space throughout the entire physical and visible and non-visible spectrum of the physical plane down to the subquantum level. We are literally preventing their efforts to put us on a lower timeline. Well done. Feel the thickness and richness and infinite, unforgiving, forgiving softness and unconditional love of Goddess Gaia, represented by the magenta. And see any blackness of the surface area and AI constructs, and wherever it is that AI creates things from, these false humans, fake realities, overlays, replicating abilities, grids, sort of getting zapped and dissolved by this white or golden outer membrane of this expanding magenta sphere of and is source. Hold space. You don't have to have perfect visions of it. And through the surface now, lighting up all the grids. Filling all space, all so-called empty space, and returning it back to oneness of source. You want oneness? Here's a chance. We're making it happen. If you can't see, you can't. Okay, there's some stuff suspended in the lower atmosphere. So there's still some blackness. Outwards we go. And out and through. Feel all space. Feel no empty space. None. Now see, go all the way out, zoom out, go all the way out to low Earth orbit. There's stuff there as well. And then zoom out to the moon. That can be done quicker because there's less there. Now see a richer magenta and feel the essence, the unconditional loving and forgiving and giving nature of Goddess within that thicker, richer magenta, within the central area of this source sphere at this point. And sort of expand that out like in waves. Feel, subquantum level, all quantum particles all so-called quarks and prions and other sort of particles feel with oneness, connected all with oneness. There's no empty space. No empty space. It's all source. All source. You may see rainbow-colored patterns at this point. That blissful joy kind of sense throughout this profound spectacle. And just as it emanates outward from the core of Gaia, as you witness that to actualize, really feel it going through the crust, just beneath the crust, through the surface and lower atmosphere where most of the last vestiges of resistance is, and just dissolve. You can, what's an analogy I'm trying to verbalize here? Just an outward emanation of expanding golden and white transmutational spheres just constantly emanating through the core of Gaia as she steps it up throughout various forms of fields, electromagnetic field, morphogenetic field, different frequencies throughout the entire plasma, physical plasma, throughout the entire non-visible spectrum. That's 99.06% of the physical plane that we can't see. Like you can't see the radio waves from your cell tower to your phone, for example. You can't see that, but they're clearly there. That's an example. Spread it out. Like this constant outward pulsing. Outwards emanating pulsing. Again, the analogy of dropping that pebble onto the still surface of a pond. Constantly feeling. Don't stop. And because it's all mostly empty space, namely the so-called solid physical surface, it's as if have an idea of whereabouts the surface is and just keep on moving these outward emanating magenta with white or golden outer membranes. So you can only see the outer membranes just moving through as if there's nothing there. Through the surface as if there's nothing there. And just hold that for another minute. Now, this is what birthing a new civilization, a new world looks like. Everything restored. And go deep before we finish up. See what you see. Again,
be really willing to go beyond all reference points and level of consciousness. Well done, everybody. We have expedited, for those Cobra subscribers, we've expedited compression breakthrough, but in a more gentle way. Alrighty. Now zoom out a little, look over to your I am, soul over soul on the far side, at least two of the HOD on either side in the background. And hold them in the background of your consciousness at a minimum. Doesn't have to be perfect visual, as we now begin to show what seems to be personal desires for the next 30 years, but really it's collective. Collective destiny, not just desires. It's more about simply expressing who and what you really are. Not so much about wanting something or, thinking what you need or want. It's hard to verbalize. I guess I'm getting tired. So connect with them, see them in the background, see everyone in the background there, see Gaia in the foreground, same old, okay? And show them the world that you want. And they get in there. They alter and manipulate things in a positive sense to actualize it. They clear some stuff within you to actualize it. They set the blueprint or clear what's in the way to set the blueprint. At this right moment for all of Gaia and humanity, because Saturn and Neptune are now moving into conjunction for boom, that reset moment, that flicking that reset switch. Because really, the whole world is starting all over again. It's just organic this time, not darkness constructs or darkness construct. The illusion, the curtain being removed. Now's the time to do this. So enjoy it. Do this blissfully. Visualize what you want and show it to them. Hold them somewhere in the background of your consciousness. Visually or non-visually. Hold them somewhere in the background of your consciousness. As you do this, enjoy. Just for 5 minutes or so. As we set the blueprint for humanity and have that intent of setting the blueprint for humanity. And if it helps, say to the teams, your I am hard at a minimum. Feel this, see this. Clear the way for it. Feel. Now begin to get into the feeling, the classic old feeling as if it's already real, already here. Well done, everybody. And you can do this for 5 minutes every day from now on, including and ideally at the exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune at 11:54 a.m. Eastern. Okay, and then you can, 5 minutes is enough. You may want to set your alarm, your phone's alarm for that time, for 11:50. To give yourself a chance to sit down, find a quiet space and have at it until 12. And you're recognized, you're kind of like, because you're active and you're actually doing something about planetary liberation instead of sitting helplessly as a bystander, you're being recognized as kind of like a central node, or one of several or many central nodes for the human collective. And so by doing this, it goes a long way, makes a difference. So just acknowledge and thank the teams, the Hide Your I Am, Soul Over Soul, any guide, and just, yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day if you're in the US, or get some sleep for that matter if you're over on the West Coast, especially. And move a thin wave of white light, just for that standard thin layer of security of removing your presence, your energetic traces through the quarantine sphere, because it's the whole field of Gaia, not just Gaia herself. Obviously, Gaia in the central part of the quarantine sphere, so it all holographically. And well done. With a really big capital W and capital D. Thank the teams. Thank all your higher aspects. Feel grateful for the opportunity to make a fundamental difference, a fundamental shift to a literal, far better timeline, preemptively. Because now, especially between now and the exact conjunction, we've paved the way, as always, for the light forces to make far bigger and more dramatic moves. Because clearly darkness was at it last night. So I guess they weren't too concerned about the exact moment of the conjunction. They were trying to move preemptively as well. Well done, beloved ones. As always, leave your feedback in the 144K Telegram chat. And brilliantly done, as always. Hugs to all of you. Please receive that. And see you all in the chat room. This is your loving servant, the Unknown Light Warrior. Like you, fulfilling your soul purpose.